Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Nerdy Volume podcast episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the Korean drama Death Game, starring So In-guk and Park So-dam as Death. Let's sit back, relax.
All right, everybody, welcome back. So today, I did suggest this. Okay, so I have no excuses not to be able to watch this. This show has come out a while ago, though, like maybe at the beginning of the year or something like that.
Ending of last year, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we plenty of time to watch this. No excuses.
A lot of time,
except for one. It's okay. She's new to the crew, so we will give her the one time she can escape from this. But we're talking about Death Game, a K-drama that follows a young man by the name of Cho Yi-jae. Yi-jae, I think is how you pronounce it. Look, if my English names are horrible, you can only imagine how bad I'm going to butcher Korean ones. and I would assume they're a little bit easier to say because they're only 2 syllables. We follow Yi Jae around as he ends his life because his life isn't going the way he wants. Should I have said it deleted himself? I don't know how YouTube does his whole algorithm thing. You get the whole idea. Unalives himself. That's the word, yes. As he unalives himself because his life isn't the way he wants and he thinks that everything is poop for him. And so, really, no big deal. Ends it there. And he even leaves a note for his mother saying that he's only doing this because life is not that great. And Death, who obviously is the Grim Reaper, comes to take his soul, but is offended, wounded even by the note that he leaves saying that death is not even scary to him. It's just a way to end, to stop. Mm-hmm. So she makes a bet with him. She says, okay, say less, homie. We're gonna do this over again 12 times. God. And you're gonna live 12 different lives for only an instant, in where you have to experience unaliving 12 times and see how much it matters to you then. And so he does. And well, let's just say that the way these other people's lives come to a finish is not very nice. Most of them end tragically for the most part. But Death does give him a deal that if he's able to survive the moment that they're supposed to finish, he gets to live the rest of their lives peacefully and until its natural end, which, spoiler alert, doesn't make sense to me, and we'll get back to that part because it's a little confusing, but that's pretty much the whole thing. So yeah, I mean, I saw this on TikTok. Thank you, TikTok, and all the people on it for suggesting this K-drama. I started watching it. Once I got into it, I remember just sending a text message right off and just going, guys. And I think Kat wasn't part of the crew just yet. So this is another reason she gets a little bit of like leeway on my part. But I'm expecting Iz to burn her completely as he did with Kong versus Godzilla on my part. Okay, so I'm just saying I will forgive her. I hope that Iz doesn't. But I sent a text going to Iz and Red. I was like, you guys need to watch this show. It's so good. Everybody's talking about it on TikTok, and I see why, because it was great. Kat, I suggest you do watch it after this and have tissue around, because it's a tearjerker. It makes you cry a lot. The woman who plays the mom, Kim Mi Kyung. Oh, first of all, she's a great actress in general. I love her in the other stuff she's been in. She's always plays a great part, but she plays Yi Jae's mom in this show, and does a phenomenal job of tearing out your heart every time she's on the screen, because you cannot help but just die a little and hate Yi Jae just a little bit more every time.
Oh man.
Is what you think?
First of all, this show is from a webcomic.
Are you serious? I love webcomics.
That's crazy, because you could have loved the show, but that's just one of them.
Yes.
One. You gotta let it flow. Okay,
I'm
it sounds like I'm
scared.
scripting these burns.
Oh no, I'm gonna mark them up right above here every single time.
You know, technically, you still haven't seen the movie. Anyway, so with this being a web comic, and Leo was telling me, hey, I saw this on TikTok. It's called Death Game. It's originally a web comic, and I was like sold. I was like, okay, absolutely, I'll watch this. And then he said it's only 8 episodes. I was like, bro, I'm gonna finish this. How long was it each episode? Like 45 minutes?
Something
They're
like that, or an
long.
hour.
They're long. Yeah, they're pretty long. They're about, I think
they're probably like an hour.
Oh yeah,
10.
there was. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, they were pretty long. Yeah, yeah. And so getting to see every life that was I guess chosen by death, which I
Mhm.
believe, since death is just playing the game, he's like, oh, you think this is easy? All right, here, go ahead. She does that, or I guess 11 times, right?
11 or
No,
12
12.
times.
Well, no, technically, yeah, 11. Technically 11.
Mm-hmm. And so seeing all of these, and you're right, the actress Kim Mi-kyung, she is incredible. I mean, oh man, I've seen a few of her shows. We watched Crash Course in Romance. She was in the one Dr. Cha I plan on watching soon. And
Oh yeah,
was,
yeah.
yeah. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, Dr. Cha. That was so
Yeah.
good.
And she was also in Forecasting Love and Weather. And I was like, there's a lot of stuff that she did that I was just like, oh yeah, she's a big name. And plus I recognize her everywhere. And so she played an integral part for this movie all the way up. And so before we go any further, if you guys haven't seen this, like our friend Kat here, make sure you stop and pause and come back after you watch it. For Kat here, she has to learn about it, and she'll probably watch it though.
This is story time for me.
Yes, 100.
Before we go, a question: do you watch a lot of K dramas? Yeah.
I started to, like, I was like old school K dramas for me, like Boys Over Flowers.
Coffee House.
Coffee House. I did. There was one that they did that was Japanese that they interpreted into Korean, but it was, oh God, I can't remember the name of it. But it's the girl that has to live in the same house as her high school crush, and he's like super smart. He hates her because she's stupid.
Something Kiss.
Yeah. Something Kiss.
I forget the
That
name of it.
And then I started like rewatching them recently. Like I started again with like Squid Game, and then I did oh my God, there's so many. Crash Landing on You. I haven't watched Parasite yet, but I really want to. Just a bunch of K dramas. They're
definitely
great.
doing a review of Parasite, because that was fantastic. I honestly so good.
Yeah.
And I watched. Oh, you're talking about the series, right? The new series.
The series, yeah, the Netflix series.
The live.
I've already watched it.
I haven't.
Have you guys watched it?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I did watch the anime.
The anime was great too.
The anime was amazing.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the live action, which
I'm waiting. I really want you guys to watch it, because I want to see how you feel about, because okay, let's be honest for a second here. Live action versions of animes have not had the greatest streak, right? Like we just did Yu Yu Hakusho a while back, and it was okay. It was better than most, I would say, but it was still missing a lot of things, right?
True.
So I want to see how you guys feel about Parasite compared to the anime, because I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be interesting, and especially that it's Korean, not Japanese. So I want to see how you guys react to that.
It's Korean? Oh,
yeah, it's a Korean drama. Yeah.
Honestly,
So-
personally, I haven't seen it yet. I've seen
Yeah.
the anime.
Yeah, we
I
know.
haven't seen the show. But
I'm kidding. Not this. We're talking about the other one.
let me make my death note real quick. What's it called? I thoroughly enjoy K dramas, and I feel like if anything, K dramas making an anime into a show, like a live action, they would do a really good job. Like
Oh.
the actors, even like the special effects of like the show,
Uh-huh.
so good.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Maybe they should have done Avatar, The Last Airbender.
You mean the first one, the movie?
No, the one that the Netflix series that just came out.
Oh,
Not that it wasn't bad.
oh,
It wasn't. I didn't think it was bad. I'm saying the special effects could have probably been better, and maybe the Korean side of things might have done a better job of it. I don't know.
Right.
But if you want to know how I felt about it, you can go watch our Avatar: The Last Airbender review. But yeah, so okay, so good to know. Good to know. Yes, like I said, go watch it. Parasite, fantastic. Hopefully, we'll be doing that review soon, and then we'll get everybody's 2 cents into that. But today isn't about Parasite. Today is about Death Game.
Yep.
And so,
I should
let's get
probably
into it.
mention, you guys don't see Randolph Aranwa here, is because he also too did not watch this show. And I want to just let us sit in silence just for 2 seconds because he's not here because he didn't want to watch the show. So the show is actually is really great. We start off with, Yee-Jae just hating life, and this guy Park Tae-yu, who is a part of Tae-Kang Corporation or whatever, is for some reason some kind of dark character, that is against Yee-Jae's apparently brighter outlook on life until recently. As of late, he was just like, he saw something in the daytime, it totally broke his flow, and it just had to happen. And literally, that part is what kind of sets everything up, kind of makes it into a loop, which we'll get to later. However, you see that he is just, not having it. He unalives himself. He meets Death, and Death is like, "Playa, come at me," and she shoots him in the head. That's how it starts the cycle of life over and over
death.
again. Or death.
Depending on how you want to see it.
Yeah. And we start off, and what's really cool is that we start off with the younger brother of Park Tae-yu, who is, that darker figure that you see that you have no idea who he is, but it just looks sus. You know what I mean? You ever watch a show and you're like, oh, that dude looks bad. Like, that's the
you could just tell.
Yeah, 100%. And especially in the 8th episode, you got to kind of look like he's popping outward. So you see that, now the main guy is Jin Tae, who is, the younger brother, the younger talented brother. And, when Yee-Jae goes into these bodies, he has these little crystal balls of memories. Because when he wakes up, he's like, oh, snap, who am I right now? I'm this dude that's in a plane by myself, and it's going down, right? Was it going down or was it just flying? It was
No,
flying.
at that time, it was nothing. It was just flying. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he had no idea who he was. So he had to figure things out. He had no idea. He didn't believe in the whole death thing and whatnot. And then this little crystal comes into his body, absorbs into his body, and it's the memories of Jin Tae. And so now he realizes that Jin Tae is probably going to take over Tae-Kang Corporation, because then all of a sudden, boom, plane's going down. Everything's going crazy. The lady the stewardess is like, trying to sit down. Pilot, I don't know what's going on there, but he is sitting in this plane as it going down. And what's funny is that I was just like, how are you going to get out of this? He's in the airplane, and I'm all like, can he ever survive this? Like, because you don't really know how real his situation is. You just kind of understand, like, okay, he has to survive from death, but then all of a sudden he's in an airplane by himself.
Right.
Like, what?
There's only one thing to do.
Yeah. Just take it.
Do you know any other way? Maybe if you had a parachute, you could jump out. Hopefully. That's probably not going to be the case.
Yeah. So it's a trip to figure certain things out, like because in my head I'm like, okay, he's in a private jet, probably has what is that parachute somewhere, but it's gone, right? It was empty, right?
Yeah,
I believe it was sabotaged.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And so you see that it's inevitable, like he can't save it, right? And then he ends up dying again and shows up back in front of death. And what's so wild is that right after he got the memories of Jin Tae, he all of a sudden was like, oh, I ain't ever dying, dude. I'm fine. I'm gonna stay in this body.
He's oh, what do you call them? Oh no, it slipped my mind. The what do you call? Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you knew it. Yeah, Chebo. I think that's right, right? Yeah, they're the
born rich or
born rich kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chebo. Yeah, I mean, he's like, I'm set. I'm set for life. It's like, thank you, Des, for giving me exactly what I wanted with money, prestige, a job, good looks.
Right.
Little did he know that he only had a couple seconds before it was gonna all end for him.
Exactly.
And of course, yeah. He sees death again, and he's pissed, right? He's like, "Yo, you said if I survive in a person's body, that I would be able to live the rest of their lives. I was literally in a plane, crashing to the ground. That's not fair." And she's like, "That's not my problem. I told you if you can figure out how to survive, that's great for you, but You know, my job isn't to help you in that. My job is to teach you a lesson.
Why is this sounding like a Korean Saw? But instead of Jigsaw, it's just death playing with you. Like, how are you gonna get out of this one?
Yo, to some extent, for reals.
Yeah. Wow.
Except
Mhm.
less gruesome to an extent. There is definitely a couple episodes in there that are like it gets crazy. Like the different bodies that that he goes into, you kind of just get left sometimes like, okay, Death really doesn't want him to succeed, right? Because some of these bodies, we'll go through some of them, right? Like he goes into the body of a baby, okay?
Oh yeah, that was
That was a rough episode.
Oh my
that
god.
was so sad. Yeah.
He was like 3
So-
years old, maybe 2.
Yeah, something like that. Remember now, these are all bodies of people who are going to die in any moment. They're not people who are going to live for very long. So he goes into the body of a baby, and you're just thinking to yourself, how's this baby going to die now? You come to realize that the parents are just atrocious. They're horrible people. They hate this baby with all of their heart. Right? They blame the baby for all of their misfortunes. Like, it's your fault that we're not rich. It's like 2 years old. The baby can't even talk. And unfortunately, they abuse him. I think they call the child protection CPA, right? CPS, yeah. Or whatever the Korean version of that is. And they come, but unfortunately they can't really find any reason to what's the word I'm looking for? Like to take the baby away, so the baby stays there. And once they leave, that's where the baby, unfortunately, the mom shakes it to. Does it shake it, or she throws it to the ground? Something. She does something. Yeah. It's horrible. And you're just like, that baby had. Why? Why do that to the poor baby? That was a rough episode. I almost started crying on that episode. I'm like, man, if you didn't want your baby, give it to somebody who will.
Yeah.
So that was rough. That was a rough episode. He enters the body of a little boy. I think that was the second body he joined, right? It was like some elementary kid school or elementary
middle school. You mean?
It was a middle school kid.
Yeah.
His name was Hyuk-soo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hyuk-soo. I think that was the second body he joined, and this kid was getting bullied and whatnot. And but because he still has his own mind, right? He comprehends with himself. He understands. He's much more intelligent than most of these children because he's an adult, right? But once once he gets the memories of Hyuk-soo, right? He's like, oh dang, this kid is, and he wants the little boy wants to also unalive himself, right? Because he's getting bullied, and you're just like, oh, that's rough. That's rough. He's like, and it's funny because now he's come to realize, it's like he didn't care about unaliving himself, but this boy wanting to unalive himself, and he's like, no, I can't let that happen. That's so sad. Why? It's like, that's interesting because you don't care about life because you just said it in your note that you don't care. So why do you care about this little boy's life, right? And so these are like the puzzle pieces that are coming together from like Death is trying to make him understand like there is more to this than what you think.
Right.
But there's this boy. What's the boy's name? Who's the boy that kept beating him up?
The bully.
The bully.
The bully. Is that what they called him? The bully.
The bully. Yeah, he would be the bully. His name is Lee Jin Sang, who, if you guys are familiar with, is the antagonist in All of Us Are Dead.
He is.
Yep, and he's also a friend of the protagonist in Alchemy of Souls.
Oh,
that one I did not watch.
I started watching Alchemy of Souls.
Yeah. He's the blonde.
I think my wife watched that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I finished that. That was a great one. Yeah. Jin Sang is his name in the series. He's the one that bullies Hyuk-soo, and Hyuk-soo's whole life it just sucks because he's not really speaking up because he's not, he doesn't have confidence, which is a big thing with young kids at that age. If somebody already has, muscle on you, they're just going to keep, pushing you because they can. At least in these dramas, that's what they focus on. Because of the guy who's in his body now that's 27 years old, he understands how cliques work at that age. And he sees that the bully actually has a way stronger than him but because the bully has connections, things happen, and that's
Like a gang or whatever.
and you see a little bit of life that's within EJ's life, how he understands how factions work, how connections work, how they help in the long run, and he doesn't think it's right, which is right, and and he's able to use that against him, and to see that, and I'm just like, look, dude, you did this worked for you, you know what I mean,
Right.
and you just get to see that in every life that he is having to relive or live before they pass, you see how his life wasn't all that
Bad.
terrible.
Yeah.
Especially with the kid one that Leo brought up earlier. When that little baby, I was mad when that little baby was there. I was just like, but
I mean, he was mad.
yeah,
He was mad. He when he went back to death, he's like, "Who does that to a baby?"
yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, who does that to a baby?"
Yeah.
You're
Oh.
right, 100%.
Kat, are you familiar with Super Junior, the K-pop?
Yes.
Okay, so Jin Tae is C1. Yeah, he's the first one. He's in episode 1, which you still have to watch.
snap.
And yeah,
Say less.
it's
Watching it tonight. Replaying
yeah.
that same episode over and over again.
I think it should. Talking about it, I think we should. I forgot to mention this earlier. The cast in this show is just all stars.
Mhm.
Banger after banger after banger after, like, it's any of all the K dramas you've watched, all the best actors and actresses that you see in these K dramas, they're in this.
Mhm.
Like it is just phenomenal work from all these people, and you're just like, yo, this show is fire.
Mhm.
There's so many great people in this show. But yeah, no, it definitely a phenomenal cast.
Mhm.
And that's coming from somebody who, in my opinion, I'm like toddler age when it comes to K dramas. I'm not, fully understand the whole thing. Like, I'm just barely starting to get walk.
Mhm.
And so for me to recognize, oh, yo, this show's got a fantastic cast
Wow.
Yeah.
no, it's really great. Like the so many great people in this show. But yeah, no, so good.
So, do you have so we've already explained about maybe three characters. So
Three,
there is
yeah.
the baby, there is the younger brother of the antagonist, and then there's also Hyuksu. So just judging from those three, Kat, do you have any questions about, maybe do you have an idea of what another person
Well, I
would
I think maybe like somebody that's like really old. Like you always have to have like an older person's perspective. Maybe they don't want to die. They're fighting to keep their life because they have some type of like, I don't know, the typical like, my son's gonna have their first baby, or my daughter is graduating. Like I want to live to see that, and then they're going through this illness and they're fighting to get through life, and they don't want to die, but then something happens.
you're super close to one.
Ooh.
Wow. And you know which one I'm talking about, right, Leo?
Mhm,
The office worker.
Yeah.
Oh,
The office worker, yeah. I would say he's old, or
but he's
because
older.
he's older, yeah. He's older. Like I want to say like he's maybe mid-50s, and yeah. And he is an integral part to the entire story. So you did pretty well, and I guess, yeah, okay, still gotta watch it, but it's still a really good one, because a lot of these, as we go through the show, a lot of these characters or a lot of these lives intertwine,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it's amazing how they did it, especially with this one character or this one person. His name is Jay Soap, and he
Okay.
was a daredevil, but he was a billionaire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was like Batman.
There's
He was like
always-
Batman. He was, by night he was a I can't even say the word. Ventilagus.
Oh, vigilante?
Thank you. English, not my first language.
He kind of looks like Randolph a little bit, not gonna lie.
Oh my god. But why is there always like a super rich, like Asian, like
Yeah.
just Korean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
CEO of like the super elite
Mhm.
company of something.
Yeah.
I think it's because
Well, there's
a
a
lot
couple of those
storyline
in
behind
this. There's a couple of those in this for sure. Obviously, Jin Tae is one, dies at the first episode.
Yeah.
His brother, who is Taeyu,
Mhm.
which, spoiler, is a horrible person, is the worst person in the show. He is the reason why a lot of these characters are actually intertwining with each other.
Oh.
You come to realize, like, as you watch this show, it's like, dang, all these people are dying, and he's at the center of it.
Wow.
It's crazy, right? Because he's this selfish, billionaire or millionaire, whatever, billionaire, I guess. And yeah, so he horrible person. Just like, you just come to hate him so much. You come to hate him so much.
And you know what's funny too? Like the beginning of Park Tae-yu's tyranny also starts at the same time as Yee-jae's spiraling. You know, and it's really wild to see how things play out. And so you see throughout these stories, you have other ones like he has a young kid that was a fighter, and he ends up in jail
Yeah.
because he needs money for his mom's hospital stuff, or
Yeah.
I think was it mom?
I think so. I think it was the mom.
Mm-hmm. And so you see that. Oh yeah, so that's where Hyuk Soo's bully is. He's in jail now, right?
Jail. Yeah. So just a little context, right? At the end of the episode where Hyuk Soo, which is the boy, right? The boy that was getting bullied by this guy. At the end, because Hyuk Soo embarrassed him in front of his gangster homies and whatnot. He meets him at night at some warehouse. So why in the world Hyuk Soo decides to go there is beyond me. But you would think he has an adult mind. He would be smarter than this, but he's not.
Right.
He gets smashed in the back of the head and he falls to the ground. And then you find the bully. What's the bully's name again?
Jang Sin.
Jang Sin starts beating him to death and kills him. Yeah. And he kills him there. And that's why he gets out of that body again and goes to death. But in a later episode, the character that was just talking about that was fighting for money for his mom and finds himself in jail. And guess who's there? It's
Ginseng.
Ginseng.
Yeah.
Like the drink, like
ginseng.
the root.
No, that's ginseng. Yeah.
Ginseng.
Oh, okay. Ginseng. Yeah. So you find him there now. So you see, he got arrested for the murder of the boy, and of course, because it's his own, it was one of his past lives.
Yeah.
He tortures him. He knows what he did, so he starts to pretend like the little boy, like Hyuk Soo ghost is there, and he's like, "I know what you did to the boy." He's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "He's standing right behind you." He's like, "What?" And he says, like the bully just he loses his mind,
like just torturing him. I love that.
He lost his mind. He was almost in like a mental breakdown situation.
Oh my god, this is crazy.
Like a comatosis. Like he couldn't do anything anymore. He's like, "Don't hurt me, please don't hurt me." And every time he like tried to get out of line, he would talk about the little boy, and the little boy is like watching him, and he'll look into nothing and start talking as if he's talking to Hyuk Soo. He's like, "Oh, is that so?" And he'll look at him and he's like, "What did he say?"
Yeah,
genius.
It's so good.
Wow.
It's so good. But yeah, I mean, you see that he's in jail, and you like it blows your mind. And eventually, that character. What was that character? The one that went to jail?
His name is Taesang.
Taesang. Oh, Taesang. Taesang. Whatever. Yeah, sure. He eventually gets out of jail, and he has a homie with him that was also part of. They got out at the same time. And he had money because all the money he saved up, he had all this money that he's like, "Oh snap, let me, I'm gonna take this to my mom." Nope. The homie that came out with him stabs him to death and kills him, and he eventually, and at least he lived in that body for a long time, a couple months while he was in jail, which is kind of impressive that he survived jail but couldn't survive
you get
on
out.
the streets. he gets stabbed or whatever, but. Now, oh man, so many names. Yee-jae is like, "Oh, there's money. I'm gonna go get that money on my next life, right? And spend it because it's gonna be my money." And it's like millions of won, right? It's won, right? Not yen. Yen is Japanese. Won. Yeah. So he's like, "Oh, bet my next life I'm gonna go get," because he put it in some kind of safe or something. I guess. I'm guessing we have some here in the States as well, but I guess in Korean it's pretty common because I see it in a lot of K-dramas where you have like those lockers that you can go, the locker boxes, you can go put a couple coins in, you can store something in there, and then as long as you come back before the expiration date, you can unlock it and pull out whatever. It's like a safe box, but in the public. It's kind of interesting. So he put it in one of those. So he's like, "Bet I'm gonna go back in my next life and take my money." Yeah. So it's super crazy. Like so much crazy stuff happens,
Yes.
and you start seeing these connections between people. And like I said, yeah, he dies. I can't remember who the next body he goes into.
After Tesang, I
Yeah.
believe he goes into Ju Hyun, who is the hitman.
Oh, Ji Hyun.
Is it G? I thought it
The hitman.
the hitman. He goes into the hitman. Yeah,
Juhan.
Juhan. Yeah,
Juhan. Yeah. That when he learns a lot, because also when he takes the memories of the person, he takes everything
their
of them,
skills,
like their
yeah.
personality, their abilities, everything.
Yeah.
So now he like knows how to fight because he's a freaking like he's
So
a
he,
he's a
like-
hitman.
Mhm.
He like absorbs the knowledge of like his past,
Yeah.
technically his past lives.
Yeah,
Yeah. All the lives he's been collecting into, he'll collect all of their knowledge, all of their abilities, all like. So now he knows how to fight. That character also eventually dies, unfortunately. I think that might have been the third body he went into.
that was the fourth. I thought maybe
Was it the fourth?
the fifth.
I don't know. The body after a while it starts to
Blur.
and you realize that the gang that is chasing him is connected to Taeyu, and it's like it's just so it's like like I said, everything
Yeah.
A
revolves around
web.
Taeyu,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it's crazy.
And so there are more of these more intertwining, lives. Like you have, like, he also was in a killer's body, and he was also in a detective's body, and
Mhm.
and the killer wanted to be an artist, and so he found his niche in killing. And then
Blood.
there was the detective who never spoke up, was a dude that just let things happen, let crime flow, even though he's supposed to enforce it. You see those two, but I also want to talk about the two people that was in Yeejae's life, but while he was alive. You have Jisoo, his girlfriend, who he thought wanted to leave her or him because he didn't amount to anything, to her at least, or to him, he thought he didn't amount to anything. And then his mother, who he just expressed that she was someone who had expectations and he never met them. You know what I mean? And so going back to the mother, so when he was Hyuksu, right, the bullied kid, there was a time where he was at home and he saw Hyuksu's mom, and he just starts crying because before he unalived himself,
He didn't
he
see it.
didn't see his mom. The person, and someone
Wow.
called him on his after he unalived himself,
Jumped.
Mhm.
and it was his mom, but he didn't see that. We saw that, right?
We saw that.
Yeah.
And so you just see that he's all like, he may be going through all this in his head, like, oh, I could do this. I could be better if I stay this guy. I could be better if I can stay this guy. I can hide something and get it later if I die or not. He had all these, things that he was setting up, but then every now and then, some of these deaths brought him back to his actual life, the people who
Right.
cared for him. And one of
Oh.
them was a barista who was a model, supermodel. And he
Or Ganyu.
yeah, Gunyu, yeah. And Gunyu was this guy, and Jisoo would come into this cafe that Gunyu, worked at. He just worked for his cousin. He didn't need to work because he was made a lot of money, but he decided to work there. And Jisoo comes in, and like anybody else who had a chance to try to give them closure, he tried to do that. So he tried to talk to her, tried to get closer, and she opened up to him. Essentially, you see that he got really close, and she was like trying to piece things together, right? That would
Yeah, because also Jisoo she's a writer. She writes novels, and so Gunsu, or Yee as Gunsu, right? He's like, oh, I have kind of an interesting story. What if you had a story like a guy who dies and then enters the bodies of other people who are going to die? So he starts talking about the past few lives that he's experienced, but she, in her head, she's like, yo, these are kind of super detailed information for like just a character
Right.
build up, right? It's kind of weird. So she's trying to understand that whole thing, but at the same time, like it's heart wrenching. It's heart wrenching because in one part, that it's Yi Jae trying to connect with her, right? Because he still loves her.
Yeah.
He just thought he wasn't good enough for her, and he's like, but at the same time, he knows he can't say that he's Yi Jae because he's like, oh, by the way, I'm actually your boyfriend who's just, you know, in a different person's body. Crazy, right? They're going to think he's crazy. So, you know, and at the same time, you're kind of like, it looks like Gun Yu is trying to get with this girl now, and is she even ready for another relationship when her boyfriend just unalived himself? And so this whole situation is happening, but they're getting closer, right? And they're getting super close.
That's
And
She's trying to he starts to figure things out. Like she's all like,
Yeah.
why is this so specific? Like a
Right.
lot of these things
Yeah.
are so specific. And
Well, that must be heart wrenching because then like she's not falling for that person; she's falling for her boyfriend.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, because in a lot of ways, he's acting the same way he would as himself,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
It's just with a different face,
Yeah.
and that's who. And so she's falling. Yeah, she's in love with the same person.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%. And she doesn't understand that herself. She's like, it's a struggle for her because she's like, and who I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember because I watched it a while ago. I can't remember how much time has passed from the moment of his death to that moment where Gunsu is meeting up with Jisoo, but I don't think it's not very long. Maybe a month or so is how much time has passed since. So the wound is still like fresh. You know, it ain't anything easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Right.
But yeah, and then I think like the end of that episode, or I think halfway through that episode, he gets some kind of like panic attack, anxiety that she's about to die, right? And so he runs after her, and she doesn't die. Yeah, she has an umbrella. And I think it started raining, and she didn't have an umbrella, so he grabbed the umbrella to take to her. But the way the scene was working, I was getting the panic attack. I think that's what it was.
You
It was
thought
me
that
getting the
was
panic
her.
because it was like, yeah, like, oh snap, is she gonna die right now? And then you see like there's a car accident or something, and it kind of like ends like that, and you're like, wait, did she die? But then you find out, no, she didn't die. Everything was okay. So they kept going together, and then they come to a point where they're about to. I think if I remember well, is he was going to say that he is himself.
He's gonna reveal himself.
Yeah, because she asked if he was, because you know,
She
I
figured
Yeah,
it
believe
yeah.
that's
out.
what it is.
Yeah.
And then something happens, you're gonna have to watch it. Sorry,
Yeah.
we're not gonna spoil that for you, Kat.
Oh, good thing you said that because I
know.
would have
was
spoiled
like,
it right
wait, I was
there.
like, we're not gonna give her all the answers
No, you're right. No, you're right. You're right. You should totally watch
Yeah.
it. Then you'll see.
because the
But yeah,
hitman
she
plays
starts-
a very big role. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, and but there's a killer too. So not to get them confused.
Okay.
There are two different people that
So many connections. Honestly, I'll tell you right now that probably my favorite character, and I think there are two characters that he lived the longest in, if I remember well.
Yeah.
My favorite character, which was Ji Hyung, right, which was the detective. I love the detective because, like Iz was saying earlier, he was like this guy. He kind of like was over it. He didn't want to be. He didn't care about keeping the law. He was just like, oh, whatever. He was kind of corrupt in a sense, right? Because other cops around him, there were a lot of cops around him that were also very corrupt, and so it felt he was like at that point where he's like, nothing I do is going to bring
Matters,
justice
yeah.
because the people around me are just as
Kind
bad.
of like helpless.
he was
like,
kinda-
I can't
yeah.
do anything. So
Yeah, exactly. But he had an underling
Yeah.
who was, the new fresh cop on the block. He was excited to withhold justice and do the right thing, right? But he was like, "Nah, man, stop." And you see him in a previous episode, right? That's how you get to know that character first. It's like,
Okay.
oh,
like he's fine.
yeah. And then after I always forget his name. Yi Jae dies. He goes into that body, and he's like, "Oh shoot, this cop is gonna die," but he survives it. He survives whatever his death is supposed to be,
Yeah.
and he becomes this like super famous cop.
Yeah.
Like he's kicking butt all over the
Mhm.
place. He's doing so good. Like he went from being a zero to a hero, 100%.
Hercules.
You
Oh,
know,
man.
yeah, 100%. And so I think that life he lasted a really
A
long
fairly
time.
long time, yeah, and
Yeah.
and he was able to meet his underling's daughter after a big accident with his underling.
Oh
and she
yeah.
asked him, "Can you she promised to protect my dad?"
No,
or something like that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Promised to protect
Yep.
my dad, and he goes, "Okay." He says yes, and I'm gonna leave that at that, so you can figure that out because you haven't watched it. So that's
So good.
There's yeah. But anyway, I feel like a lot of this is us explaining the movie or the series
This
to
year.
Kat. let's go into what we thought of it really quick. I thought
I
it was
mean,
I hated it.
I
I
thought
I
it
hated the
can
was
whole thing.
tell.
yeah. I thought it was a great series. Awesome pick, Leo. This is definitely one of the ones that I would suggest to everybody because like I said earlier, like the relationships between EJ's mom and his girlfriend was very strong, but because life has its downs, it that beat him over their love for him, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That
that
really
man.
did
I
hit.
mean,
That hit hard.
EJ just had the like. It was just he had a lot more valleys. Well, it looked like he had a lot more valleys than peaks for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's so important about like. I think that's what this show kind of hits is a lot of people who think their lives are just so miserable all the time that nobody else can experience. Like, oh,
Understand.
yeah, nobody
Nobody
understands the
knows.
struggle. You
Exactly.
know, and I think that in part that's what Death was trying to show him is like you're not the only person and she shows him 12 different lives where they went through maybe not the exact same struggles that EJ went through, but definitely struggles for themselves. I mean, a baby at the age of 2 getting hated and beaten by its own I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but by its own parents. It's the people who are supposed to protect and love you, and they were the ones who were causing your harm and death at the end. Like that's tragic
Yeah.
for a baby, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
And so to think that your life is worse than that child who didn't even get a chance to even experience life, that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough. I really enjoy this show. I have certain things about when it comes to like that kind of mentality that you know it is what it is. But yeah, this show I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. I thought it was really great. I thought, like I said, the cast you couldn't you could not get a better cast than what they had. Their cast was amazing. And just a shout out to Sodam Park Sodam, right, who played Death. So
Good.
good. So good. She did such a great job. Her character was flawless the whole way through. And you know how webtoons like they usually have like when they do their intros or outros, they usually have like pictures of the webtoon as their intros, so you kind of understand where the
Like,
show is coming from.
right. Mhm.
I saw a picture of the character to the actor, and I'm like, they picked
They did
really
good.
good people to they picked some really close comparison people, and I was like,
They
yeah,
did good.
fantastic work.
I did
Fantastic work.
there was another one that I watched that was a webtoon that became like a K-drama, and
Yeah.
it's called True Beauty.
Oh,
yeah.
so good.
Yep.
Love that one.
They did
I
change
wish
some
they came out
stuff,
with a season
but
2.
I know they did change it towards the end, but they look
I hear.
exactly the same, and I'm just like they do so good with casting. So like
Yeah.
I kind of want to read the webtoon for this one and then go into the show so I could see like the differences and like the similarities and stuff.
I've from reading books and watching movies / TV shows learned that doing so just brings disappointment to me. So I'm not gonna
It's really
I'm
a
not gonna watch. I'm not
perspective,
gonna read the
though.
webtoon.
You know, it's a
Okay.
perspective.
We just know that there's a webtoon, but
Yeah.
neither of you have read the webtoon.
I'm not one for reading webtoons. First of all, I don't even know where to go to read
Line
them.
webtoon. Oh, sorry.
I'll remember that for the next 2 seconds, and it's gone.
Okay, it's now in the recording, so you can go back.
Oh, you're right. I'll just delete that part.
Oh no, you have the power.
can edit it out.
Yeah, I do. But
Was there?
yeah, no, I mean, 100%. If you want to read the webtoon before watching the series, I do it.
There might,
Do
there
it.
might be even
I-
more lives that's not in it.
Right. Or stuff that happens in the webtoon that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
You know.
because
Yeah.
Death in the
Ah.
series used like a clock to determine how long of the time he had, and
Okay.
and yeah, and what if I were to talk about anything negative, it wouldn't be of the cast, it wouldn't be of the pacing or anything like that. It would be the characters, the actual characters. Like there's so Park Sodam did that character awesome. Death, because I hated that character. Okay.
But you liked
Yeah.
it because of her, like
I
how
like
she
that she
played
played
it.
that character because I was just like,
yeah, it was. She did a great
and I
job.
was just like, oh man, I just want him to win because she just seems so just arrogant. And then
Mm.
like I want to say at episode 4, you just were like, she can be, you know what? Because EJ is a little bit, over his head with what's going on. This dude,
It's-
it didn't matter. It's so weird how Okay, so this is the one thing I didn't like about this show, but it made sense because of maybe because of the culture. I'm not sure. However, every time he came back, it was like he felt like he was some kind of entity as well as death. Like, you know what I mean? Like he felt that he was the one that had this power. He was the one that could change his life after death, right? He felt this way.
Like it was robbed
Yeah,
from
yeah. I'm
him.
just like, I was like, you were real like four lives ago. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
Right.
100%, completely agree. I think that's a great, an accurate description of his character. It's funny that he complains to death every time he died about being what you just stole that from me. Like you didn't give me an opportunity, and you're just like, homeboy, I think you forgot that you had an original life
the reason
that
why
you
you're
could have
here.
lived all the way through. Did you forget that one? The one you personally gave up? I'm just giving you extra opportunities. I didn't say it was going to be fair.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you. I thought, and I think that's what I think that's what's so great about his character. Whoever shout out to the writer of the webtoon, because I don't know what that person's name is.
Lee Won-sik.
Written by Lee. Yeah, I just saw it. Lee Won-sik. Great job writing the story. Just in general, it was so good.
Oh, it's on Naver.
You know,
or via Naver.
But yeah, no, so good.
So good.
It is very.
I cannot recommend this show enough. I thought it was great.
Well,
The hype for it might have gone down since last year, but
you
honestly,
guys
it
just hyped
deserves.
it back up. Like,
I hope so. If you haven't watched this, you need to go watch it. If you don't like K-dramas, trust me. I told my brother to go watch this. He does not watch K-dramas. He doesn't really ever watch shows that have subtitles. Because like me, we're not the fastest readers. We'll miss a lot. So he doesn't usually do subs. But he watched it and came up and he's like, bro, that show was fire. And I'm like, yeah, I know. He's like, I loved it. It was so good.
Very good.
So yeah, if you have not watched it, or if K-dramas aren't your thing, give this one a try. Trust me, it isn't like your lovey-dovey romance drama. That's not what this show is
there's
about.
not like a fall and
this-
then music, you know?
yeah, and then capture.
Yeah. Oh, all of a sudden
in
we're
my
in
arms.
love, you know?
Yeah,
You are
nothing
my
like that
everything.
whatsoever.
Right. It's like, oh, you're already
If you're a
married?
fan,
Not anymore.
if you're a fan of what's the Squid Game, I would say it's closer to that in the sense like of its kind of like seriousness. It's a very serious show.
Same tone, almost the same tone.
Yeah. I would say it's even a little bit darker than Squid Games,
Yeah, and
because
very fantastical. Is that the word?
fantastical.
Fantastic. Is that what it is? Fantastical.
No,
Oh,
I think
it's very fantasy like too, because
Yeah.
of the the whole death.
death aspect,
Mhm.
and then yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So as far as this show goes, I mean, when it comes to the grade, you know what? Since Kat didn't watch this, what is the grade based off of what we gave you? And be honest. Like, think about, there's other things that you don't know about
F.
it. You know what I mean?
Gonna give it an F.
Yeah. So we're gonna give you. Yeah. Go ahead and think of what you would give
the
this.
grade I would give.
Yeah.
Based off what you guys told me, the story plot, the acting, the actors that they've included, I love when things intertwine and you kind of start putting pieces together and you're like, oh, and then it just like entices you.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably, without even watching it, I would probably give this like a 9 out of 10.
Okay, it's a little higher than I thought you'd give it, but yeah, that makes sense.
No,
Makes sense. 'Cause
sounds real. I mean, something right down my alley. So I like these kinds.
Leo's like super excited just talking about it.
Bro, I don't get passionate often. I wasn't even a Simon today. Like I can't even mention one thing I don't like about it.
True.
Dang.
You remember, I'm usually the Simon Cowell of this group.
Yeah,
I usually have some kind of criticism to make.
Surprised you didn't want an episode
And
9.
I mean, I would like an episode 9. I would have liked an episode 9. So okay, I'll let you know what my grade is. I don't think it's a surprise. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. 100%. Loved every second of it. Honestly, I can see myself watching the show again in a couple months. I'm not, and for a Cat, you probably don't know this. I'm pretty sure people out there already do, because I've mentioned it a few times. I don't rewatch things. Once I watch something, I'm done with it.
Dang.
I know the storyline. no. There's only been a few shows that I've ever rewatched multiple times, and those things are Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated series, Code Geass,
Ooh.
and that's it. I think those are the only really two things I've ever rewatched. Oh no, and Star Wars. I watch Star Wars all the time. People think I'm freaking weird fanatic. I'm not. I promise you. People just keep buying me Star Wars stuff because they think I love it that much. I do love it,
That's
but
your
not
whole
that much.
wardrobe, Star Wars.
I have, of all the clothes I have in there, 9 of the shirts that I have are not Star Wars, and I have like maybe 50 shirts in there. Okay, so yes, it is this one at least is Star Trek. So is it a betrayal to the Star Wars fan? Maybe, but it's okay. We all should love each other, you know. But yeah, 10 out of 10, 100%. Love the show. It is what it is.
Good.
I think,
It's good.
yeah, it's
Is.
good. You want to know what I thought?
Not really, because you can just
You want to know what I thought?
get us out of here.
With the fact that Kat didn't watch this. Okay, let's put that
Oh
into
my.
put that in the grade. Compare the two. I'm gonna also give it a 10 out of 10.
Oh,
That was an absolutely. I
Oh.
would give it an A plus. It was an act. It was great. It was great.
Wow.
And the only gripe I would have is what I brought up earlier about it only being 8 episodes. However, to be honest, the story ended perfectly. Okay, I'm gonna just let you guys know right now. I highly recommend watching this, even to people who don't watch Korean dramas, because it didn't feel like a Korean drama that is the what is it? That is all the hype. You know what I mean? Like this is a series that people should watch, and although I don't think there's going to be a second season, at least with the same characters, this was an incredible series. I highly recommend it. To all my friends who are watching, listening, and and even those who are new here, and and then those who have already kind of like listened to this much of the podcast, to be like, you kind of understand some of the, I guess, some of the spoilers that we gave, that maybe you want to watch what happens with the girlfriend, or what happens with why the killer and the hitman, they're two different people, but they do kind of the same thing, like what's going on, you know what I mean? Like there's, and why the detective and his underling's daughter said, protect my dad. Why is that important? You know what I mean? Like hopefully that helps you guys, because this show.
I'm excited now. New show.
By the way, you
Added.
can catch it on Amazon Prime, just in case you're trying to figure out where you
Yes,
can get it.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah, Amazon Prime. Yes. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode. Don't forget to follow us on IG, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter. You can catch us on YouTube, where all of our content is at. Also, please leave a message or a review, as it will help the podcast grow. Join our community on Discord. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. And don't forget,